Don't go to church. It's stupid. Even unbutton this a little bit. Oh man. Let's do this.
The Nazi zombie menace continues unabated. Supernatural forces taunt your every move. Your successful escape from Berlin proves to be only temporary.
Alright, so I'm gonna come up with a topic, and it's gonna be a good one. Hopefully. Excuse me, set up some stuff. Subway station. Set up with some stuff. Alright, here we go. Hello? It's a robot. Don't put your phone number out on the internet, everyone, or else people will call you non-stop. Forever, because they're stupid. Let's see here. For the trip line right here. And landmine. Landmine right here. forgot to put out stuff out there. So, basically, let's come up with a topic. Remember, you can't change anyone. Like, people are smart enough to know things, and they do things no matter what. So, I mean, no matter how much you try to help them, they're not gonna want to help themselves unless that's all I can do for now. Remember, you're not like a superhero or anything. You can't like make people change. You can't like force people to change if they don't want to change as well. It's really, really hard to do that. It's really hard to even think about it sometimes when people like. And sometimes people don't want to change just out of spite. All that stupid shit they say, all that different stuff. The reason they don't want to accept someone or they don't want to accept someone or anything like that. Accepting these because they're too pissed off about something that they did that they're going through. So remember that whenever you're like, oh my god, because this person will change. Try not changing them, and then they'll probably agree with you. Like, try not trying to change them. It's like, try don't. Just don't. Like, try thinking about, like if you were being forced to do something that you didn't want to do, even though you agreed with the person. Like, there's like, always people try to act like, oh my god, man, like, I say guys study psychology, but I'm not nowhere near a master. I'm not like, and also, I mean, you can't technically be a master. So you can get your master's in psychology, but you're not like, just because you're really hard to explain. It's like trying to change people or trying to go up against them and be biased against them is like saying, oh my god, and also sometimes people just say things to create a culture or an amassed kind of serious thing, I guess. They're basically just remember people and their unforgiving willingness to not do the things you want them to do. Like, remember when you were a kid and the amount of children that used to do the opposite of what you said you wanted them to do, just because of the fact that getting them to do that would make them act. That's basically the same way that people act today, and they don't want to admit it because they're older and lazy. But also, being a child psychologist is probably not the secret to the universe. Realizing when to stop, and to just hold on to what you have. It's like, man, there's like so many times when I realized that it wasn't going to change the person's mind. It wasn't going to change the person's mind whether or not I got them to do something that I wanted them to do. Like, remember that part, because, like, trying to change people is just so hard. It's sometimes not worth the effort. Not change, I mean, not to say it's not worth the effort, but it just, trying to allow a person to change themselves is a lot easier. Like, allowing a person to realize that they've come through folly, and especially if they've gone through something stupid, they're just plain insane, like stupid parents or stupid people who just aren't ready to be able to make a change in their life. I mean, realizing that structure of a cotton, realizing that structure of the world, basically, is just the realest thing you could possibly ever imagine. Like, not saying, oh my god, it's like, you should change because this thing is better, and you should think this way, because maybe that person, the way that person's brain is structured, they think everything is a threat, or they take everything as I don't want to change, I don't need to change, because you need to change, why is me anything to change? Because they take everyone's single life. But then again, realizing that they're like, the more you realize that the stupidness, the fakeness, all the dumbness, every single ounce of what you learn as a person, believing in the fact that eventually someone will realize their folly and come to a conclusion about their own behavior. Just realize that. If they somehow feel like they're just not doing it right, or if they feel like there's some sort of thing they're missing, or something like that, don't try to force them to be something they don't want to be, or try to see something they don't really feel like looking at the moment. It's just... And also, I mean, suggesting things can sometimes even be the worst thing for someone. Realizing that there needs to be focus after folly. Like people need to focus on what they believe is something. Like, if they come to an epiphany in their own time, and that's perfectly fine. But the more you look at a person inside of their own thoughts, the more you see that person stuck inside their own thoughts or anything like that, just realize, like, they have their own way of going about doing things. And if you change that, if you try to change that about a person, if you try to realize some sort of goal with that person in mind and thinking that person will like that, it's like you're not giving them a gift. You're forcing them to change what they're doing. It's the same with any sort of thing like racism or anything like that. Like, oh my God, that's crazy. Nazis, whatever. You know? People were fucked up. People were very fucked up. And they had some very extreme views in the Nazi regime. The Nazi Party did not like people not being productive. And there were a lot of people who didn't really even think that art itself or any form of it was ever even a form of expression. Nor, I mean, it's like... And the reasoning behind it was the fact that everyone sees something different in that painting. Everyone sees something different, so how could it ever be art? Or how could it ever be something that means something if it's not a word coming out of your mouth, or if it's like a... Changing someone's opinion is a lot harder than letting someone come to a conclusion on their own and realizing they agreed with you. Also understanding it's not a country or a country's people's fault for the regime that's over them as well. It's like sometimes people can use really weird tactics, and they did and then even in America, and a whole bunch of different people used it. They used a bunch of different tactics to try to manipulate people into signing up, and then they instilled the draft after that. But they have to understand that, and a lot of people have to understand this, is that there were still people in the military. Like there were people in the military before the war. I think a lot of times people got this, like, because I know that I do, I get this this weird feeling sometimes whenever I have some sort of epiphany or some sort of thing. Let me see. A lot of times people don't understand they're doing wrong. Like, people don't understand they're hurting someone, whether they're doing wrong in a relationship or in some sort of business, some sort of mistake they're making that's basically just making them feel like you're... Okay, that looks better because I look like I actually have hair. Making a person feel better is one of the biggest challenges, and the biggest responsibilities that there ever is. And making someone feel like they have a comfort, but also trying to force someone to change is the hardest thing that could ever be instilled in anyone ever again. Ever. Ever. Like forcing someone to make a change in their life that they know they don't want to do. Like, it's the reason why raising children is the hardest job in the world. I think that they should actually, if they're not going to have Planned Parenthood, then they need to give people better paternity leave. No, fraternity. I really think that's a truth, that if no one's going to pay attention to me, then I might as well say stuff that actually means something to me. So, I know that my mom had a hard time when she was having kids, and she had us in like almost rapid succession. So I know that when a woman is fertile, like when she is fertile, she stays fertile after a while when she is pregnant. And there are a lot of times when people don't like to look at the memories sometimes, because I'd say they were too young, or too young when they happened. I was analytical from day one. Like, I walked in trying to see, or trying to think of a new way to do something, because what I was doing wasn't working. Like, I was always frustrated. I was always doing something that was dumb. That's the exact reason that I got into art. And the reason why I got into expressing myself is because it doesn't matter what anyone else sees through that. The art is the fact that someone appreciates the effort that went into it. And the fact is that it speaks volumes to some people, that it never even said anything to the art. There were so many different people who thought that it just wasn't something that needed to be. And in that case, it's an extremist cultist religion, basically. And people didn't realize that the people who were upstairs, including Adolf Hitler and all those other different dudes, it was a running gun for money. Like, it was a running gun because they were desperately running out of resources and money as well. And a lot of time, people who...
Nevertheless, you must venture forth to the Kaiser Friedrich Museum and recover the Sagamata relic.
And it's a neutral cross on my hand. Or it's supposed to be a neutral cross. Maybe it's a neutral cross now. It covers up my wedding band that I The basic structure of a relationship is honesty. And I think that a lot of times I could have gone into other relationships, and I could have gone to other women that actually sought me out, or even wanted me at all. I think the effort of doing that, though, was, I felt like I wasn't right, I guess. I felt like I wasn't giving my all, I guess. And to a lot of people that seems to be my disappointment. I know now that it's my own stubbornness to do something. And I was like, there were a lot of times when the most I saw in someone, the biggest things I saw in someone. Or the most things that I would see in someone was like I could envision what they would want or how they would want it. It's like and a lot of times I think that the way that I envisioned that was by checking their body movement and seeing what they did and realizing that people, I mean, I realized that like you don't have to change people's minds. And also something that my mom basically instilled in me when I was young is no matter what I'm thinking, no matter how I'm thinking it, it's easier to go along with what people have to with what already is going along and kind of try to make it your own. Because it's like I never really like and that's where I think that a lot of times the more I look at myself in the mirror, I think that I just need confidence. There are a lot of times when I look at other people and they have confidence. It's because of the things they believe they've been through. I don't take confidence or hold confidence because of that though. I mean, no matter what I've been through, no matter how much experience I have, there's always that one situation that can go awry or can mess up some sort of thing that I'm thinking about, you know? Like the more I look at the more I look at the reasons that I see a bigger force inside what people are actually doing. It just I notice that whenever I look into those sort of whenever I look into those sort of reasons that people change their minds or do something like different in their lives, it's because of something that they've done or something that they've noticed that can I can push them toward the The more I look into the past, I see I saw a very bright future. There we go. Shoop, shoop. I'm going to look into what is or what was in my past. I saw a really bright future. I really did. And the more I met, the more what was it? The more that I looked into more I looked into what I naturally saw. In my own life, I basically tried really hard to make sure that I didn't lose that. I didn't try to lose that. Basically, the reasons why I get angry now is because I'm stressed out, and stress is very bad. And in no way do I try to look like Alex Jones, but I do. But I look like him. Same fatness in the face. Nor was I ever Alex Jones. But people could tell you differently. They would try, and they would fail. All that. know that a lot of times, I wish that there were just more of something, you know? More energy, more stuff like that, more. And when you get into like stuff like here we go. I just really wish that, I just really wish that people didn't believe so many atrocities, like didn't believe that they had to fight back with so many different atrocities. Like even solid and and I think it's just a complacency, I guess. A complacency in being at everyone's disposal, I guess. Zombies. There have been a lot of times when I use emotions and in my what's the word and I didn't agree with anything you said, so but also too, I mean, there are points that people need to understand. The pollution we make it really does have an effect on the livelihoods of a lot of different creatures. So, yeah. And a lot of different people that live and make livings everywhere. So, I mean, just like you could say you're creating jobs. I probably would disagree with that, but yeah. I mean, just think about it, you know? Think about all that stuff. Think about all that stuff that people are wrong about, and then realize the reasons why they're wrong, but other people are right about them because they know the facts and stuff like that. And not everyone knows the facts, because there are a lot of times where I think people don't realize that where they're getting all their information. And I know this because, I mean, it's like, this is the reason why I don't like the YouTube-esque sort of stuff right now. It's because there are a lot of people that are being paid, I think, to keep a cap on YouTube, and they get paid by sponsors to say certain words or certain things or certain phrases and stuff like that they're kind of like damning to themselves, I guess. And that's why I think a lot of big time sponsors left. It could be also because they have really terrible, just all around judgment, I guess. Be on the internet, because to give people like an idea of what we do and stuff like that, to give set the Nazis on fire. It's not. And in no way that I make any comments about Jewish people, because I'm part Jewish, non-practicing also. Just my my heritage is aligned to just yeah really hate being treated like a child, though. You know, everyone does. Everyone hates being treated like a child. So why do you do it? Why do you try to act like you're better than people? Because you have confidence. Unwavering, honorable confidence. Remember, confidence, good intentions is not the road to the apocalypse. Alright, wait, okay. Good intentions is the road to hell, alright? Good intentions. But just good intentions. And also, I don't believe in hell. Confidence, overconfidence, and the use of confidence over ignorance, basically, is the road to the apocalypse. Remember that shit. It's like fucking insane. Like, if you want to see like shit going crazy, man, physics ceases to exist sometimes. Yeah. It's like see the dreams that I have. I have crazy dreams.
Now, I must return to the museum to retrieve it.
And no one, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just, I guess I'm just gonna watch this later and try to make myself laugh. You know what? I'm just tired of it. You know, I'm tired of. I'm just gonna get rid of this shotgun. I don't need it anymore. And I'm gonna use the Panzerfaust. Can I just stay in here? I just want to stay in here. Yeah, I'm dead again. Shit. I realized that man, my beard makes me look fat. And also sitting down makes me look fat too. And also my fat cheeks make me look fat. And also my huge fat ass forehead makes me look fat. Man, just all that in general basically makes me look fat. So I hate little like Alex Jones. I hate it. Because he says a bunch of crazy shit, not realizing that he might have a disability. That's the reason why I say crazy shit sometimes, because I'm stressed out and I'm acting out and a whole bunch of different shit like that. Awesome. Good times. I internalize my emotions and they don't become like anger. They become basically oh man, just they become just like fury. 37 headshots, 71. Also, like, acting like you know everything doesn't get you anywhere. It really doesn't. It's the training. You gotta get the training, because acting like you know and have situations under control doesn't mean just being in the military doesn't make you awesome. It makes you good at whatever you're doing once you are able to get past boot camp and all that other different stuff. Back then, you know, back in World War II and stuff like that, it wasn't a thing to go into the military. It wasn't a big deal. I don't get it sometimes why people are so out of it. It's just like, it's got to be the temperature, man. It's got to be the temperature. People weren't afraid of going, and then it's like, oh, we had a fucked up thing that people were using babies as bombs in like villages, so they had to kill a bunch of people who they said were civilians. Yeah, they were using babies as bombs, and they were throwing people at other people while shooting them, and putting, oh, that's what villains do. Villains do this. And then, oh my god, it's so complicated, and now we have to take LSD and trip and then accidentally eat people. Yeah, that's what the 70s was, basically. When you get assisted by a different drug or something like that, it can change your entire perception of everything. It can change your entire perception of people and who they are and how they are. I internalize my emotions a lot because, and I'm tired of internalizing my emotions a lot. They can say that, oh, I take medicine. I really do, because I internalize my emotions just enough to be able to have a disability and basically had trauma and fever and a bunch of different stuff that actually played into it. But if there are kids out there that have this sort of like tick or anything like that, that believe that somehow their entire heritage or their entire life's work or their entire lives are all intertwined in this weird pattern of emotion, and somehow they need to act out and push on to some sort of like ooh, we need to resist because resisting is resisting. She's like, no, don't do that. You can resist if you're being like hurt or something like that, but like if there's a government that's doing something stupid, let them do stupid shit and then change them. Because if you get in the fight of a government and a government, you're gonna die. Like, it's truth. And if you die, then you're fucking stupid. And just don't do it. If you're a civilian and you're in like a fucked up situation, and somehow the Americans are always the bad guy, and there's always like crazy people doing stupid shit, saying, oh, we eat babies, and oh, vampires, all the vampires. Eating blood or eating human is a basic instinct of a child, of a baby. Okay, can you realize that? Like, it's a baby. Like they're saying like that's where vampirism came from. Like, that's where if it ever existed, it would have existed as a defect, and those people would have been like in the sun or in vitamin D, or if they basically ate so much that they like decided to become like a race of people or something like that. They were like, it's a defect. Like, it's a defect. Like, it's a drinking blood is a defect. Like, it's stupid. It's really dumb, because it's like you can get highly allergic to any sort of, I think your own blood isn't that bad because you already have it inside of you, but still, it's still stupid. Like, I've done that before, and like licked a cut or something like that, or blood, just to like make people feel like they're like weirded out or something like that by me. But it's because of my raising, and my dad used to mess with people because he just thought it would be funny sometimes. And there were a lot of times where my dad took like mind-altering drugs after he got out of the service, and in some cases his sense of humor got warped, and I really wish he could get it back. You know, my dad. He always says stuff that doesn't make any sense now, and there are a lot of times where you have to watch. Sometimes dudes leave their families because they're going through something, because they're basically like their mind is going to shit, and you have to watch that. It sucks. I have to watch my dad basically hurt himself and die, and a lot of kids and a lot of people are saved from that. I don't get to spend time with him that much anymore. And it's not because of anything, it's because my dad is obsessed with going somewhere, and he doesn't know where he's going. He's just stuck and frustrated, and it's hard to watch. It really is. And in most cases I leave. It's really hard to watch. So, like, there have been a lot of times where some people get like this warped sense of reality because they think that just because something bad happens and inside of a thing or something like that oh my god, it reaches all the way up to the top, and it's just, those are just people that have problems with establishment or any sort of tradition whatsoever. They just believe that somehow, in some way, and then eventually those people become being extremely conservative. I took that directly from the BBC quote, but eventually people become really, really conservative, and they're those sorts of people that get offended by everything and don't realize that, I mean, you gotta do business with somebody. Realize that, I mean, eventually people are gonna put down their walls and realize that they shouldn't have been fucking with each other so much. We should not have been fucking with each other all the time, and then people will things could have been avoided so many times, as if like sometimes presidents do a stay, like I've noticed this, at least in the government facilities and facilitations, and because of a lot of laws and things like that stop different people from going forth and doing a whole bunch of different things. There's a stay, like somebody stays on the house and does a lock-in or a lockout or something like that, or they make a move or something like that, and they just to get a bill passed or get some sort of thing passed. I actually saw this on the West Wing, and that's in turn when I was about 17 or 18, and that's how I learned about it. So, I mean, there are a lot of times in the presidents do this a lot too, is they'll stay on the bill. They'll stay on the bill until something they like or something they really like is passed into law. A lot of times too is what they'll do or what they'll have is they won't realize the harm they're doing by not passing a law or a bill, and they'll find out that people die sometimes because of those laws and bills that aren't passed, or because of 24 hours of something happening. People can die, like in hospitals and in old folks' homes and a whole bunch of different other things like that. And what happens is the influencers basically die. The influences on our society basically die. And then no one knows where to go. No one knows what to do or how to do it. And then there's this like key change of we're all doing the same thing over and over again, constantly trying to. It's like, yes, we are. We're all doing the same things over and over again. History repeats itself so many times, but understandably so. If history repeats itself, then in certain ways history doesn't repeat itself as well, because there is an what, and not just a constant change, but a constant realization of the fact of the mistakes of the people who came before us. The people who thought that, like, there was a guy who basically just shot himself, and I told you this before. There was a guy who shot himself. He was in office, and he literally just murdered himself on live TV. And the reason why there's a lot of people who their job is to keep things from people, or not tell the entire truth, or leave facts out at some point, is to protect people's privacy. And not just public opinion, because eventually they'll realize, or they'll see them for who they are and get their infatuation off of them. Understandably so. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to change anyone's mind, but everyone works with a purpose. Every single person that works in this entire world, they work with a purpose. So they have a purpose at some point, to be able to do something that makes them feel like they can, they can do something that matters, or they have something that matters. That one moment where everything just fades away and people are all just like the same, or something like that. Like there are people that believe that, and to that I say, if we were all the same, then it would suck. Trust me on this one. If we were all the same, everything would suck. Okay? There'd be no one to look towards, to guide you, to tell you along your way that eventually, and that's why people hide things, like parents. They hide things from their kids constantly, not just Legos, but secrets and things that they feel as though their child shouldn't know, in order for them to be able to have more control over them, so that they can mold them into the person that they need to be better than them. Like I said, being a parent is very, very hard. It's like one of the hardest things ever. But also too, when people don't realize what they're doing, when people don't realize how they're doing it, bad things can happen. Okay? Things that are very bad can happen. And people do need to realize this, is that eventually all that stuff fades away. If you just allow it to go into the E, if you allow your tank to go into E, then it just all fades away into nothingness, and there is nothing there waiting for you ever. There's just silence and darkness. That's all. And it'll drive you insane. Like, it'll drive you absolutely insane. And there is nothing that can stop that insanity sometimes. And it can make you feel like there's something else inside of you, even though you know for a fact that you yourself aren't connected in any way to anyone or anything. It can push you to an edge. And that is your own cerebral cortex telling you to quit doing the shit that you're doing and just do stuff. Like, do different things. Do something to help yourself, to help someone else, to help anyone, and realize that there is so much that people have pushed their lives into that they themselves feel as though that if they do something out of character, or if they do something out of complete oneness with themselves, or oneness with their political party, and that's where the Nazi Party came from. That's where the absolute Nazi Party came from. Completely and utterly. Nazi Party. That's where the Nazi Party came from. That's where it started. Okay? It started because there was political unrest, and instead of taking into account that people needed opportunities and a whole bunch of different things, they started to literally systematically kill off one race. Okay? Sound familiar? Sound very familiar? Sound familiar about our past and what's actually happening right now? And technically, it's driven by almost every single other country surrounding us. Technically, all the countries in the other hemisphere. They're all in the other hemisphere because they tried to turn every single other country on our hemisphere against us because they're stupid. Get it? You get that whole thing? It's like there's tariffs and a whole bunch of different other things like that. But tariffs, okay, are a fucked up thing. Okay? You know why tariffs are a fucked up thing? Because it constantly removes goods that can be sold in like say China, the government. They do fucked up shit all the time, and it's fucked up all the time. Like in America, you can take natural resources on land that you own, and you can sell it to a different country. Granted, if that country doesn't have a nuclear program, or a nuclear program and then starving 600,000 people in the 90s. You can sell it to another country if you have certain things. Like you can sell it to another place, and that place can have that. Like a bunch of different cement can be moved to different areas and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really great. It's really good. China doesn't do that with other countries. Most of the time, if they have resources, they stay in China. Like, they stay there in that one country all the time because they don't want to give it to anyone else, because they're afraid if somebody has too much of something or somebody has too much of anything. It's basically a balancing act. That's what the EU is right now. The whole thing, it's falling apart right in front of their eyes. And if they don't have a war, then they'll fall apart eventually, all the time. Like, just be bankrupt every single day, even though they have fucking mounds and mounds of gold, because inflation is unbelievably high. And that's what happens. Because that's also what happens when you decide to put one of your pieces of country or one of your things at all, things like that. It's like, I'm gonna let this thing be free, okay? I'm gonna let this, okay? This is the best analogy for it, okay? Alright, you got like 5 chickens, okay? You let one of those chickens run outside, okay? Just run all the way it wants to, can eat freely and do whatever it wants to, and it's happy and having a great time. You make all the other chickens stay in one coop. Okay? You have to stay in that coop and keep making eggs. Okay? Eventually, those chickens will hate that other chicken. It will. Because it will hate it. It's the same thing they did with Beijing. It's basically what they did was they made one place be free, and then just to see how it would work. Just to see how it would work. You know, just to see how it would work. Because, not really just to see how it would work, but they thought that eventually every place in China would be free. And that's why England made the deal. Eventually they would be like, wow, this really great profitable place is great. And then 2018 rolls along, and it's not that profitable. Because the rest of China is doing thing where they stop people from coming in. All the touristy stuff, people go there. It's so great. It's so awesome. They eat all the food, and it's great. And then, for like 20 years, and then, yeah, it's more than 20 years. 50 years. But then what China does is it starts a re-education program in China saying that what they were doing was wrong. What they were saying was wrong. Understandably so, the tourist industry will always be available. Every single time. All the time. The reason why is because if they made it better, then it would have survived. If they would have made it better, if China would have taken resources from China and then given it to Beijing. What is it, Hong Kong? Or is it Beijing? Whatever. Whichever city they decided to make free, if they would have taken resources and pushed it towards that other city, then it would have been better, right? Because that's the reason why we have such thriving tourist spots, and they stay better because they get good reviews. Okay? Eventually, people are going to understand that no, they can't get their personal sort of thing in a certain way. They can't get a certain number of things. They can't build a hotel in China because it's still owned by the government. They can't build a hotel somewhere else because they have money and they got it off of some other dude. And then, but this is the point, is eventually all those people in China, not all those people, but the leader of China, he'll die. Okay? He's going to die soon. That's the reason why he's running for power. So he wants to make sure that that regime stays that regime. Okay? He wants to make sure that Tiananmen Square and all the other different stuff. So, going back to all this stuff, being a parent is extremely hard. Okay? But if you allow one of your kids to run outside and play as much as he wants to, and then the other kids stay inside all day, those kids aren't going to hate that kid. They're going to hate you. Okay? They're going to hate you. Alright? Remember that. They're going to hate you, and they're going to realize that that kid isn't having much fun. The kid looks like he's kind of having fun, but he's not able to mess with it, to have it with his brothers and sisters. Okay? To have his brothers and sisters around him, and then to play games and do stupid shit. Because also, Russia is like a whole nother ballgame right now. Because I know China and Russia have been trading all the time. And that's why China has been boasting big numbers and a whole bunch of different things, because their economy is going to shit as well. Like, they've been moving around money, acting like some sort of trade-off is good for everything, and it's just like, I'm okay with establishment, but man, when you start making deals and then literally just make deals within each other, their food source will be out in 20 years. If they don't start making deals now, because that's the whole thing they did. Like, this is the whole reason, this is the whole ploy they're doing. Because they do a whole ploy when they do one ploy. Because a whole bunch of people work in succession and do different things and are like, oh my God, we're like so working in order. But they don't have any food, okay? They're not going to have any food for a while. Like, half of their country is literally irradiated. They're not going to turn into some tropical wonderland. It's just real. It's half of their country is literally populated with irradiation. It's like the whole thing, almost. Like, man, dude. They think that, oh, keeping it cool, man. Gotta keep it cool. That's what happens in the winter. There's no irradiation. We're doing great. Sickle and hammer. You gotta work, because if you work, then you're a better person. That's why people have been losing their nutrients, those things they have on their arms, that little gator shit. It's from irradiation. It's from being irradiated for so long and not even knowing about it, that your skin starts to peel off. It's from already having cancer, already getting cancer. Most, or if not all of those people actually had cancer. They didn't want to show that in the study, but that's literally what cancer can do if left undone with irradiation. It's like, oh, there's a disease happening, and it makes you turn into a zombie. No, it doesn't. That's irradiation. And it turn into ghouls and shit and start flowing around and eating random shit. And that's real. That's the real part. That's like Chernobyl was fucked up. It is. There was a shit ton of irradiation, and so much shit went wrong. And man, like, you can't tell people sometimes that their entire livelihoods are just like, it's like you want so badly to tell them to get out or to tell them to move. You want so badly to tell them that eventually they're not going to have the pollution of everything that they're doing to China will literally make it inhabitable. And their people will stay there and they will die there, and everyone will know, because it will be a complete and utter graveyard. And no war will ever be fought. Realizing trust and respect is one thing, but also but putting your country into a situation of despair and distraught and serious unhealthiness is the worst thing that anyone could ever do to their own country, and then blame it on another one, especially if that country is in another hemisphere and somehow feeds on babies and eats people. What I think people are going to understand and really realize eventually is that the basic structure of human life is falling apart. And it has nothing to do with any sort of just all of it is. The moment that anyone started saying anything about race, the moment that anyone started saying anything about anything, and the moment that they denied whatever they denied. You can say that Africa is the end-all be-all, but you know what? If they kill off everyone else but each other, they'll die from inbreeding. They already have. And literally animals will just wipe us off the face of the planet. Does anyone really want to go out like that? Because that's a bitch move. It's like the bitchiest move that anyone could ever even think about. Like, and also we don't think about things like is there life outside of our own existence, outside of this planet? And yes, it's true. It really is. And it's not within our own solar system. And if we're not even close to getting outside of our own solar system and into another place and another life, it's done. It's like there's got to be somebody out there that can. If we haven't gotten outside of our own solar system yet, then we're already dead. And that's the truth, because we're spinning out of control and we can't fucking take it. People are dying constantly. There are people who are completely dying, and this is the best it's probably going to get on this planet. You have to think about it. This constant movement and everything constantly moving and shutting off our center of gravity. If we don't die by disease, then we'll die by getting hit by something. Probably a van or a truck or a big dude who we think we can take, but we can't because our center of gravity is off. Just realize that, because and that's the reason why I take so much time to appreciate everything. The reason why I take so much time to appreciate everything and tried to appreciate the things that are in my life, because I tried to take it. And eventually, I didn't realize it, but I knew that somewhere there was a boat that I just got on, and they didn't take me anywhere. I went to a hospital, and I was done with everything and everyone. I couldn't take it anymore because I hated everyone, including myself. Me looking at cosplay and a whole bunch of different stuff stopped me from hating myself. Me looking at people trying and doing something with their lives and being positive about it made me look at myself in a mirror and just try more, harder, and I hated myself. I hated everything about my entire race because of how fucking stupid they are. Because of how fucking stupid we are. Just... And no, I'm not sure of what I would have done had I not realized my goal and realized what I really wanted to do with myself. But all that shit and all that stuff that I say, it just... I'm not broken. I never was. And I hope you're not broken too. I realized there were no cracks. I realized there were no real reasons why I had to hate myself, or anyone else for that matter. When you start appreciating something about the future of humanity and the future of every single person that lives here or that is here, you're going to start realizing that we were making borders to begin with. We were making borders to begin with to be able to keep whatever we thought was coming to us out. And it was extremely paranoid. Borders don't really exist. They're imaginary lines. It's an idea on something that's united, on something that could be united, on something that could be amazing. And we are united 51 states. Or 52? I'm not exactly sure. It's 52 states. 52 states and 6 territories? 5, maybe? 5 or 6 territories. Eventually, when people realize how to make rock faster, we'll probably have 58 or 59. It doesn't get any worse than hating everyone, including yourself. And if I can come back from that, then I know that anyone else can come back from whatever they're thinking. You are your own one-person bomb squad. You can defuse situations that happen before they happen. Realize where you're at fault and where you need to fix it. Be yourself, and no matter if anyone watches, be a star. Thank you, and have a good day.